All right, so this is our next target. We are going to do ratios, rates, and percentages, target 4, where we will solve real-world problems involving finding the part, whole, or percent. So first we're going to practice, we're going to learn how to turn fractions into decimals, and then decimals to percents. So first of all, we have the fraction 1/2. Now, I don't know what that looks like as a decimal. So up here, it says divide to turn a fraction to a decimal. You're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. Okay. So the numerator is 1, right? That's our top number. Divided by the denominator of 2. That is going to give us what? Let's look at our calculator. So 1 divided by 2 equals 0.5. So that is the fraction 1/2 as a decimal. Now we're going to turn that decimal into a percent. So the way we do that is we see how it says decimal to percent. We're going to multiply by 100. So we're going to take our decimal and multiply by 100. So we're going to take 0.5. Oops, not 0.6, 0.5 times 100. That's 50. So as a percent, it's 50. So 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5, and that's equivalent to 50%. These are all equivalent values. So let's do the next one. Again, we're going to take the numerator divided by the denominator. So 3 is our numerator, divide by the denominator. 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75. And then remember, to turn a decimal into a percent, we have to multiply by 100. So we're going to take our decimal and multiply by 100. So 0.75 times 100 equals 75%. All right, so I want you guys to do the rest of these. Follow this up here if you don't remember how to do it. Let me check this before you move on to the next part. All right, so today we're going to learn about a variable. So a variable is a letter standing for an unknown value. Unknown number. So for example, the variable in this expression here, it says x plus 5 equals 10. So x is our variable. In the next expression, the variable is j. Oops, it's not going to let me do that. So let me try and zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom in, please. Fine. Don't let me zoom in. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, so we'll move on to t. So 14 minus t, t is the variable. B minus 2, b is the variable. And once again, up top, j is the variable, but it won't let me highlight it. So basically what the variable stands for, it stands for a number we don't know. So when you were in grade school, that would look, instead of putting a letter there, we would put a blank, and we'd be like, blank plus 5 equals 10. So it's the same thing. It's a blank, okay? It's a number we don't know. So what plus 5 equals 10? That's right, it's 5. So x equals 5. Same thing on 20 plus j equals 27. So if we do 20 plus blank equals 27, what is the blank or the j? J equals 7, because 20 plus 7 equals 27. Now on 14 minus t equals 12, what is t going to equal? 14 minus what equals 12? T will equal 2, because 14 minus 2 is 12. And then the last one, b minus 2 equals 6. What minus 2 equals 6? It's 8. So b equals 8. So it just stands for a number that we don't know. That's going to make the equation true. All right. Moving on. This is the real bread and butter of our lesson here today. So the percent proportion. So we learned about part versus whole. And this is our percent proportion we are going to use to solve a lot of our problems, actually all of our problems today. So part over whole equals percent over 100. So the part, if you see the word is, that's normally the part. And if you see the word of before this number, that's normally the whole. And that will make more sense as we get into it. Okay. So number one, we want to know what 5% of 80 is. So see how I said of is our whole. So that means 80 is going to go where the whole is. Okay? So we have part over whole. We don't know what our part is. And then we do know what our percent is because it says 5%. 5% is, that's easy to find because it has a little percent sign. So 5% over 100. So instead of just putting part here, we are going to use a variable. We're going to use the variable x. So x over 80 equals 5% over 100. So x is going to represent whatever 5% of 80 is. So we're going to cross multiply and divide like we did before. So 80 times 5, that's our first step. 80 times 5, 80 times squiggles, really, is what I'm writing. I'll scoot it over here. 80 times 5. What is 80 times 5? Let's see. 80 times 5 equals 400. And then we divide by the only number that's left. So we're going to do 400 divided by 100. So 400 divided by 100. That equals 4. I'm getting new software. How exciting. So I'm scooting this 4 over here because it won't let me write it closer. So 4 over 80, you're going to rewrite the proportion. 4 over 80 is equal to 5% to 5 over 100, okay? So 4 is 5% of 80, okay? 4 is 5% of 80. So this is how I want you to write it. You just rewrite the proportion with the value that you found. So 4 over 80 is equivalent to 5 over 100. There we go. All right, moving on to number 2. Ooh, my nose is really running here. Okay, so we have 15% of 50. So again, we have part over whole equals percent over 100. So percent, that's easy to place because it has a percent sign. So 15 over 100 is equal to what over what? So where do I put that 50? Remember, of always goes on bottom. So of 50, that means that's the whole, and we don't know what the part is. So we're going to put the x there. And then we're going to cross multiply. So 50 times 15 . 50 times 15 equals, come on, 50 times 15 equals, what was it, 750? Yep. And then we're going to divide by the only number that's left. So 750 divided by 100. Which is 7.5. All right, so if we rewrite this whole thing, it's going to be 7.5 over 50 is equal to 15 over 100. 15 over 100. So 7.5 is 15% of 50. All right, let's do one more. How much time do we have on here? All right. So let's see. So 12% of 130. So 12%, that always goes here, 12 over 100. And then of 130, remember of means that's the whole. So it's of, and then we put x on top because we don't know what the part is. So remember, part over whole. Come on. Equals percent over 100. And then part is, whole is of. The is will come in more handy soon. So again, we're going to cross multiply. So 300 times 12. That equals 3,600. And then we're going to divide by the only number left. So 3,600 divided by 100 equals what? Divided by 100 equals 36. So there we go. So then we're going to rewrite our proportion. So 36 over 300 is equal to 12 over 100. So in other words, 36 is 12% of 300. All right, so I want you guys to try out the next few. I think there's, yeah, all the way up to 8. And then I will check them when you get done. Good luck.